Hi, I'm Sam, and this is Slow Snail Stitching. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. This is episode 2 of my Flosstube, and I'm really excited to be here. Before I say anything about cross-stitching, I have just got to say thank you so much for the kind welcome I received to the Flosstube community. I was really blown away and honestly had a moment of slight panic whenever I started to see how many people were viewing my first video. It's funny because there is a moment where you're like, oh my god, I want to connect with everybody, but also like there's like 4,000 people perceiving me right now, and that is not the response I thought I was gonna get. I was like, oh, maybe like 50 to 100 folks from Instagram will watch this. And I was blown away by the response. So thank you so much for anybody who watched or took the time to like comment and say welcome or follow me and on this journey. I just really appreciate that. So a few people that I'd like to shout out in particular are folks that, shouted out my first episode on their own YouTube channels. And so that would be the Diddy Stitcher. Thank you so much. I had not seen her channel before, but I really enjoy, like, she does these walks in the beginning of her videos that are quite calming and like kind of through, seems like a countryside area. So it's a very, very nice way to start a Flosstube video. There's also Invis from Sleepy Goblin Crafts. They gave me a really kind welcome. Eli from Thick Threads, thank you so much for shouting me out. And then, let's see, Wild Fox Stitchery. So Steph from Wild Fox Stitchery. So thank you guys so much for sending people this way and having folks come and check out my channel. So it has been 3 weeks since I sat down last to film, and I will say I've gotten some stitching done. It's that time of year where I am really drawn to all of my hobbies, and so I've spent a lot of time doing each and every one. So I've done quite a bit of reading, quite a bit of gaming, and of course cross-stitching while we're all here. So I'll show you what I have been working on. Today we've got some WIPS, we've got a start and finish, I've got an FFO that I had finished previously, and then I've got a couple other things I wanted to show. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, let's start with finishes. So I've got 2 things to show you today. The first I'm very excited about. I did attend the Lindy Stitches Harvest Moon Hangout last weekend, and I was not expecting to start anything new, but I just got, a wild hair on Friday last week, and I thought I really wanted something like, I don't know, Harvest Moon Hangout worthy. And whenever I was looking through my stash and looking through all the different things that I had gotten recently, I decided to start Sunbleached by the House of Cam. And so I started and I finished, and then I FFO'd. So this is my finish. I really love this piece, and I really like this frame for it as well. I stitched this on a piece of 28 count linen, and it is hand dyed by Vera in the color Warm Acacia. So she does a lot of natural dyes, and this is one of them. I just thought this color just kind of really went with the theme of these like dried flower motifs and dried bugs. If you go and watch Cam's video where she talks about the inspiration for it being like her grandparents' house, like kind of living in the South where, in the summertime she'd always find like little dried dead bugs in a windowsill. Totally relate to that even in my own house today. So I just really love this piece. I thought it was a great time of year to stitch it, and I think it turned out really, really pretty. So yay. So this was a full weekend stitch. I started this on a Friday, finished it on a Sunday, magically had this frame like in my closet somewhere. So that is the first one I wanted to show. The next thing I wanted to show is a needlebook finish that I created. This pattern is a free pattern that Al Forest Embroidery had up on their website, and it's a windmill pattern. And I stitched this over the summer. whenever I was going through radiation treatment for skin cancer. So every morning when I would sit in the waiting room, I would pull this out and stitch on it. You know, one color of thread here, so it was just a really easy throw in my bag kind of stitch. I know that this thread is Cottage Garden Threads. I will say I do not know the color, and as far as this fabric goes, I'm gonna have to really dig back in my purchase archives. I do think it's like a, if I had to guess, I want to say it's Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, and I think it's like a peach color. I don't remember. I'll find it and I'll pop it up on the screen here. But this is my finish. I did a little quilted front. All of my fabrics I got from Quilt Sandwich. I talked about them last time. And so I just kind of quilted it up in a block, and then you can open it up. I have some extra needles in this little pouch here. And then of course, I have a couple of pieces of felt that I can like slip some needles in. The front of this is really giving me like these two patterns together. Even the windmill honestly is giving Howl's Moving Castle vibes. I think it's really just like these two specific colors and fabrics. But yeah, I thought this turned out really well. I do know this is a 28 or a 20 count Aida. But yeah, this sits on my desk with my other journals. It kind of just looks like a nice little like journal sitting there with it. So that is that finish. Okay. Next, let's move into the progress I've made on my current WIPs. Okay, so the first WIP I'm going to show is Starry House by Carriage House Samplings. This is what it looked like last time you saw it, and this is what it looks like today. So I've gotten a lot of the stars done. I've gotten this little plant, and I've moved down and I've started to do some of the fill-in of the like grass area. I've gone ahead and gotten this zigzag so I can start putting in this design down here. Again, I said this before, I'm just really loving how this is turning out. The more colors I put into this, I actually think the green is starting to look better and better. So one more time. I'm really loving this. I do think I'm about to put this down for a little bit though and work on a couple other projects. So I'm not sure if you will see this in my next Flosstube. Knowing me, you probably will, but who knows. I am gonna try to work on something else though, but recently this has kind of just been the thing I have been reaching for over and over and over again whenever I'm just ready to sit down and start stitching. I also don't have anything in project bags. Whenever I'm working during the week, I keep my projects in like in these messy little baskets, and I just stack them on my desk. So when I'm ready, I just have everything I need to go. And then when I put them up for longer periods of time, they go back in their project bags. But I have found that keeping all of the mess organized into a small basket really keeps me organized whenever I'm stitching. The next thing that I want to show is my Twigs and T-Sal. I can't remember. I am going to show a picture of what it looked like last time. I don't think I had, maybe I did have my goose in here. Miss Lucy Gooselock was maybe there last time. But since I met you last, I have definitely worked and worked and worked on that tablecloth. Okay, here it is. All, let's see if I can get it to focus. All close to 1,600 stitches are in this tablecloth. As you can see, I did leave space down here. I think I've said this before, but I will be beading this piece. So that will leave me space for those purple beads. But yeah, it is turning out well. There is another piece or another part coming out today. This is by Fine Frog Stitching, if I didn't say that at the top. So it's the Twigs and T-Sal by Fine Frog Stitching. Really, this tablecloth is gorgeous. I love the colors in this. It really just, it brings me joy now that it's finished. It did not bring me joy whenever I was stitching it. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the plaid or The color changing, this about made me go just completely cross-eyed. I would look at it and just be like, okay, I've got to be fresh and awake and like ready to work on this. And it took me a little bit longer than I would like to admit, but I do think that the juice was worth the squeeze, and I got this cool tablecloth now. So again, it's in a basket. This will probably stay in a basket. I'll probably not put this piece back into a project bag since most of the parts come out weekly now. We did have 2 weeks to work on the tablecloth, but most of the other parts come out every week. And so it will probably live in a basket on my desk for the time being while I'm, you know, just getting piece after piece done. I am going to try to stay on top of this, and hopefully, I don't know, I won't mess up. We'll see. This is actually the last WIP that I've worked on. I told you, I've just been kind of all over the place. This is Seasons Keeper Winter Girl by Barbara Anna Designs. And I think I said at the end of my last Flosstube, I had quite a large Krynic and sparkly blending filament order coming in. And so I knew that I was going to want to work on it. I have worked on it a little bit, granted, probably not as much as I thought I was going to, simply because I was fully in, I was in that tablecloth era of my life. But here is what we've got so far. It is a tragedy that you can't see what I can see whenever I look at this, because I have started adding blending filament all in her dress, in the blues, in this purple right here. The yellow is in, I might butcher the name, is Etoile. So it's sparkly in itself. Whenever I was working on this, I did keep running outside into the sunlight to be like, sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. And then run back in and like put some more stitches in it, and then run it back outside just to look at it and to marvel at all of the sparkle going into this. I am stitching this on an 18 count banana oil, one of a kind fabric in this really pretty lavender gray color. I will be working on this more, hopefully in the coming weeks. I'm feeling like this is definitely what it is. It is a wintertime project. And right now, especially as the leaves have started to fall here in North Carolina, I am fully in like an autumnal vibe. I'm ready to be stitching some more Halloween stuff. So I'm not quite sure how much I'll work on this in the coming weeks. I may be defaulting back to my other WIP of the October Mood by Forest Embroidery. We'll see. But when I said that I got quite a bit of Krynic, I'm not kidding. So maybe I can show you. I guess this is partially haul, but I wanted to show you some of the colors I'll be adding into that. So I've got this really pretty, like neutrally blue color. Again, sparkle's never going to show up as well. I've also got a pretty purple lavender blending filament, and then this cloud white color. So those are 3 of them. Then I also have more, of course. I've got a darker blue. I love it. Watch me just talk myself into working on it more. A light sky blue. A straight up holographic silver. Oh, I love that so much. And this like icy, like lighter blue. So, I will say really quick, not that anybody asked, but, this is, what is it, Accentuate? Some of this is Krynic, some of it is Accentuate brand. I actually prefer the Accentuate brand. Krynic is pulling apart a little bit more whenever I'm trying to like get it to like really mesh with my stitching threads, and this is kind of like separating out and bunching up. I'm doing all the things that people say, like using shorter pieces. And listen, it's, if you want the sparkle, you're going to have to work to get it. That's fine with me. I'm willing to put in the work for this beautiful piece. But once again, here's where we're at. This is gonna be great when it's done, for sure. All right, I'm I'm going to talk about things that I want to do in the coming weeks, and then maybe go over just a little bit of haul with you guys. Then we'll talk through some, you know, what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what I'm playing, all of the other hobbies. I do think it's important to add those in if you're interested in seeing it. But let's talk about some plans really quick. Halloween's here. I'm actually now in more of a Halloween mood than a fall mood. So I'm ready to stitch like the little ghosties and maybe some little witches. I don't know. I'm just in the spirit, I guess. Every year, I don't know if I mentioned this last Flosstube, I have a son. He's 8 years old and the absolute light of my life. He loves Halloween and he loves decorating for Halloween. So last year, you know, I'm spending a lot of time cross stitching and he was like, hey, please cross stitch a ghost for me for Halloween. So I let him scroll on Etsy and he, of course, found, I think it's Mama Witch cross stitch, and looked through all of her designs. And eventually he landed on one of the Adopt a Ghost designs. That's this one right here. So he loves this. He begged me last year, like, please let me keep it in my room all year. I was like, no, we're going to put it up and it's a Halloween decoration. I do think I'm about to go back in. I removed the felt, which is why I'm putting my hand back here. I want to go back in and put 2024 because this year he was like, where is my yearly ghost? I want a new ghost. And so we went back to that Adopt a Ghost kind of line that she put out, and he found a new ghost for me to stitch for him. And it is, of course, a dog ghost. So I'll pop a picture of it up right here. I am glad he loves it so much. It will not be a hard stitch. I do think I will probably try to knock it out here in the next week, so we can probably get it up and frame it similarly to this one. But it does feel like a really fun little tradition. There's quite a few of these Adopt a Ghost patterns that she has, and I think they'll be really cute if I put them all up on the wall, kind of like gallery style. So next Flosstube, you'll probably be seeing this little ghosty dog all finished up. Then, speaking of putting up other decorations, I thought I would show off my next, something again I did last year. Y'all have obviously never seen it before, unless we're friends on Instagram. This is framed with glass, so you will have to excuse the glare. But this is Witch Quaker, Halloween Quaker, something like that. And I'm also going to blank on the name of the designer, but I'm gonna go put this up somewhere in my house after this video is filmed, and we will officially have our Halloween cross stitch put out and about. So that's exciting times for us. Other exciting news in the household is that I've gotten a porch goose. I love her. Her name is Henrietta, and she is my current obsession. I love Henrietta. Here's a photo of her. She's got two outfits right now. She's got a fall outfit, and then I got her a candy corn outfit. And I have been looking up different sewing patterns so I can sew her some more clothes. So I'm obsessed. I love her. That's other news. I'm currently very into decorating Henrietta, and she's got her own like little corner. I know she's supposed to be a porch goose. How could you put her outside? How? I'm sorry. She'll never live outside. She's not an outdoor goose. If it's cold, you bring them inside, okay? She's cold, and I don't want her clothes getting dirty. So Henrietta lives in my kitchen up on a shelf. So as I dress Henrietta, of course, in her new outfits and different outfits, I will show them here because I think everyone should enjoy, I don't know, just seeing her and her whole aesthetic and vibe. Okay, haul. Let's talk about it. I went to the Harvest Moon Hangout last week, I think I mentioned, and I did not do a ton of shopping. I honestly, like, just some of the pattern, I wasn't as into it as some of the other patterns from like Midsummer Stitch or just other Halloween patterns that I had. However, I did love the exclusive fabric that Lindy Stitches was selling. And that is Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers and Sepia Sorcery. Sorry for the crinkle. I'm gonna pull it out of the bag. I did get an even weave of this, and I got a, what is it? 32 count Lugana. So let's take a peep. I am obsessed. It's like a purpley gray brown with like some green and orange. I'm really thinking about this one Nora Corbett design, or Mirabilia. I can't remember which line it is. It's like Nighttime Moth. I don't even remember the name of it. I'm sure I'll put all the info up here. But I think it would be really pretty on this. So I'm loving this. I will not start anything like that until I'm done with my current Nora Corbett CrossStitch. It's like one of those that like is a chain project, you know, like it's attached to another one. So I'm like, can't start this until I finish this other one. It's kind of a way to keep myself accountable. But yes, this was the exclusive fabric. I love it. It was really pretty. Okay, that is really it for cross stitching and what I've been working on. My plans for the coming weeks are to continue the Twigs and Tea Sow by Frying Frog Stitching. I'm gonna work on the Adopt a Ghost for my son. And really, I think I'm probably gonna pull out October Mood or Glittering Leaves. So October Mood is Al Forrest Embroidery. Glittering Leaves is Nora Corbett. I think that is my current plans. If I get a real wild hair, and there is a distinct possibility that I will, I am also obsessed with, hold please. I have to get my notes out. I am really obsessed with the Apothecary Geese by FlossyFoxShop. If you haven't seen them, here it is. I bought the pattern as soon as I saw it. I really, really loved it. Sorry, also consulting my notes if there's anything that I missed here. I don't think there is. Recently I was watching, why am I blanking on the name? I love his Flosstube. Stitch Apocalypse. That took me long enough. And he was showing his stitching journal. He's like, who wants to see that? And I'm like, I want to see it. I want to see how everybody keeps track of their stitching. I realized I'm not a Notion girl, but I am a journaling babe. And if you ever wonder how I keep like my projects, it's like all like little notes and stuff in here. So these are my Flosstube notes for this go around. But yeah. Okay, friends, enough of that. Let's talk about what I have been reading, watching, playing. If you were just here for cross stitch, I will see you in 2 to 3 weeks. If you want to stick around, fantastic. Let's get into it. It's going to be a little chaotic. Reading. Okay, I know y'all see, got a lot of books behind me. I read 3 different genres. I really love sci-fi, fantasy, some romance. But I will say, there are certain times in my life where I get really stressed and I feel like my mental health starts like tanking. And there's a couple kind of like red flags that I'm in one of those moments. And a lot of times you can kind of like figure it out by my like Goodreads or like, you know, whatever tracking I use. Like you can kind of look through and be like, she's going through it. She's really going through it. And you know how? Babe, I'm reading Mafia romance. Like, I'm just like, it's like popcorn. I call them popcorn books because I will not retain any of that information. I'm going to read it and I'm never going to think about it again. So I have been reading these Mafia romances. What are they about? I don't know. I don't even know. This guy is mean but he loves her and he's obsessed with her. This guy, same thing. Y'all, it's not the normal like caliber of book I really want to be reading. I'm not talking down on it because there's a time and a place for this type of stuff, but that's where I'm at. I'm reading Mafia romance. Also, I'm reading Shifter, romance. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to talk about it. It's just go and like whatever you're thinking in your brain, like shifters. It's like we're like shifting into like our, you know, an animal form of ourselves. I'm not going to explain that on Flosstube. Y'all can go check it out yourselves if it sounds remotely interesting. So I'm reading that too. Again, like it's popcorn. I will barely remember it once these books are done. So that has been my Kindle, my physical reading. That's where I've gone to. I usually do try to keep my audiobook reading to be a little bit, you know, more of something substantial where I can come in and recommend things. And so for that, I did read Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. And I loved it. It's a 5-star read. I have really been hitting a stride recently with like 5-star reads. Rebecca Ross wrote Divine Rivals, and I forgot the second book in that series' name. But this book that I'm talking about right now, Wild Reverence, is almost like a prequel. It follows the gods in the Divine Rivals world. Not at the same time. It takes place before the events of Divine Rivals, but it is everything I wanted in Divine Rivals and didn't get. And I really enjoyed that series too. I thought the romance in this was a little bit more believable, and it is just heartwarming. Like, I finished that book and was like, what more? Like, I just really love the characters. I thought Matilda was just so, like, I was just rooting for her the whole time. Like, there was never a moment where I'm like, you're being dumb. Like, and that happens quite frequently when you're like, that's the wrong decision to make. Like, I just didn't feel like that at all during this book. So absolutely loved it. As soon as I finished that, I did take a couple day like break to really like let that sink in. I didn't want to move on to something. I was having a bit of like a book separation moment where I'm like, oh, I miss them. I miss these characters. But eventually I moved on and I jumped right back in to Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archives, and I am now on the final book of Wind and Truth. Whew. So far, it's a doozy. I am realizing fairly quickly that I need to go back and read more of the Mistborn series to really understand what's going on in the book that I'm currently reading. There is no way on God's green earth that I can even give you a summary of what the Stormlight Archives is going to be about. It is a very intense, world-building heavy fantasy novel set in Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. I do recommend it if you are into like that type of fantasy. If not, maybe skip it. It's a very long series to start and not want to stick with. I think that is it for reading. Watching, I have been back in my Discovery of Witches era. I rewatch it every year with my close friend Megan, and I love the books. I love the TV show. I'm currently like making my way through the end of season 2 right now, about to start season 3. So if you haven't seen it, it is a more adult version, I think, of like almost a Twilight-esque book series. It follows a witch named Diana, and she basically is a scholar, and she is able to call up this manuscript that nobody has seen in many, many years. And they think that the manuscript is the, it has the ability to tell witches and vampires and demons where they came from and kind of like their origin story. And so, of course, there's a lot of people who want to get their hands on it. Diana wants nothing to do with magic or her magic. You know, in the beginning of the series, she meets Matthew, who is a vampire, and slowly but surely, of course, you know, they're going to fall in love, and we're going to watch the whole thing unfold. So I've been watching that recently and just loving every second of it. That's really it in the watching. I don't watch a ton of TV. It's just, I watch more Flosstube than I do TV. So, that's really all she wrote there. Gaming. Now, let me tell you about gaming. I think I said this last time. I do love a cozy game. I like cozy gaming. I like other kinds of gaming too. But of course, with the fall weather, I am ready to get cozy and I'm ready to like pull out all things nostalgia. So I have been playing a game called Discounty. And it is a kind of like a life simulation game where instead of like a farming sim, it's like a convenience store sim, like where you are this little person and you move into town to help your aunt open up a discount store called Discounty, and your whole thing is like you're stocking shelves, you are making sure the store is clean, you're helping customers get what they need, and in the background there is like some mysterious stuff going on in town, and so you're kind of helping different townsfolk, like, you know, figure out what's happening out in the woods, or like what's that big manufacturer doing out there, are they polluting the town, kind of thing. So that has been really fun. It's taken up a lot of my time in the evenings, at least, whenever my brain is just so ready to turn off from the day. And there's nothing like a little bit of like virtual menial labor to turn your brain off. So there's that. In the same vein, do you hear that? Do you? That's Stardew Valley calling my name. I'm ready. I'm ready to log my hours in at the farm. Listen, what can you say? I dream of menial labor. I want to play games where I'm out there like doing hard labor in the fields. I want to go fight some shit in a cave, okay? Like this is what I want to do in my gaming time. So I feel Stardew Valley calling my name. I am ready to answer that call. And so probably over the next coming weeks, I will play a little bit of both Discounty and Stardew Valley. And that's that. All right, y'all. That's really what I've been up to. A little bit of everything, it feels like. So I hope you guys are all well. I hope everybody's taking care of themselves, and not just their physical selves, but your mental self. It is a rough time to be even remotely socially aware of anything, you know? So I hope that you take the time to unplug when you can, when it feels responsible to, and take a minute to care for yourself. I'm trying to practice what I preach and do a little bit of that, but I do know it can be difficult at times. So if you ever need a soft place to land or someone to chat with, just even if it's like, man, life, I'm here for you. Holler at me. Until next time, I hope y'all are safe and healthy and just genuinely happy in the world. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.